Guys, Matt Haycox here. How you doing? Weekly roundup time. Been a few weeks out of these weekly roundups now, so I do apologise. Although that does mean we've got a few more exciting things to catch up on. Today we're going to be talking about how to charge the prices that you want and deserve, assuming you've got a good enough product. Obviously, that is. We're going to talk about networking, as always. We're going to be talking about skiing. We're going to be talking about hiring the best professionals you possibly can, accountants, lawyers, whatever that may be. We'll talk about a bit of personal stuff as well, which I guess we'll get on with now. I've been late recording this, and haven't really recorded much for a couple of weeks, to be honest, because I haven't really had the headspace for it. I have, and by the way, I'm not going to get into my into the woes of my personal issues, but I just think it's probably important to share how I feel at times, because as upbeat as I am, I do always also have shit days, and as much as I try and be positive and trying to stay focused and on course, things do kick me off, and I've had a few issues over the last month or so in my personal relationships. By personal relationships, I mean with my girlfriend, that is. And it's just, my head's been out of the game. I've not really been working anything like full capacity. I've not been in the headspace to film this kind of stuff. And I'm through that now. We're sorted. We're in a good place again. And it can, it's back to normal. But I talk about it not to bore you with what's been going on in my life, but really more to say that I never really used to understand the importance of how home life and work life can often impact, intersect, etc. And I think really very much over the last few months, with my own life, and over the last few years with witnessing the lives of other people that I do business with, or that I kind of admire or listen to, I really understand the importance now of making sure that everything's tickety-boo at home, to make sure that you can work and fulfill your dreams, desires, achieve the goals that you're looking to achieve, whatever that may be. I mean, I talk about work. It doesn't have to be business, whether you're a professional athlete, whether you're a singer, or whatever it may be. I think if you can't get your personal life right, you need to be single. I really do very much believe that, and I'm certainly not here to be dishing out relationship advice, but I just think when you want to achieve great things, when you want to be busy, when you want to be successful, you've got to have your head in the right space, and any kind of distractions just makes that utterly impossible. So I think you need to, if you're going to have a partner, you need to have your interests very, very clearly aligned. You need to be on the same page. You need to not be at war. You need to be be supportive, get supported. And if you can't do that, I think you just got to fuck them off and be single, because otherwise you will never ever achieve what you want to achieve. I mean, I look at the last month or so of my life, and listen, it's a temporary blip in time, and we get over it. But if I was to have stayed in that state and continued forward in that state, then there's not a chance in hell that I could continue to be successful, to be creative, to build businesses, to have ideas. I'm glad I've got my shit sorted, and I just think that's just my kind of general advice to you guys out there. I mean, I see so many of my friends who are in, or not just friends, but people I know, who are in relationships with people that they probably shouldn't be in, and that are causing each other, a lot of grief, a lot of headaches on a regular basis. And if that's going to happen, not only is it, listen, it's a shit life, it's a shit way to live life anyway. But if you're trying to be a successful person in your field, then you're going to struggle dramatically to make that happen. But hey, on to more positive things. I'm actually just looking at my notes. A lot of the time when I record these things on a night, you're going to see me drinking a nice glass of wine. I haven't been drinking now. I think I was on a ski trip recently, and when I was skiing, I decided to stop drinking. I'm going to Mexico at the end of this month, and I thought I'll set Mexico as my target to drink again. It's a funny thing, booze, and again, I'm no medical expert on these things, and I'm certainly not going to get into it deep enough. But I just tell you how I feel. So I like a good glass of wine. I like a bit of, a little bit of a party now and again. But I'm absolutely not what you would consider a heavy drinker. But whether it's just cumulative effects of alcohol, or whether it's because I'm getting older, I don't know. But I could easily have three or four glasses of wine with dinner each night. But when I go to bed, I feel, I don't sleep as well. It'll be tougher to fall asleep. I'll probably have heartburn. I'll wake up through the night. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm sluggish. I'm not refreshed. And I'm certainly not hungover, but I just feel groggy. So I go through these stages of cutting out drink. I'm not someone who could do it for prolonged periods of time, or certainly someone who could quit for good, because I do love my red wine, and it's a balance. But I can very much, I do very much see the positives and the benefits of not drinking when I'm off it. So I thought, I've got Mexico coming up in a few weeks. I'd just been off the back of obviously a heavy few months in Dubai, a ski trip. If any of you guys ski, you'll know that skiing involves a lot of eating and drinking, and even though skiing looks like exercise, I don't think it's exercise. Well, it certainly doesn't feel exercise like like running or going to the gym or whatever. So I was 8 days into my 10-day ski trip. I've been getting force fed. I felt like a frog or a duck, and I thought, what, time out. I think at that point, Mexico was about 4 weeks away from me. 4 weeks away from me. I thought, fuck it, I'm going to be off the booze until Mexico, because Mexico's going to be heavy. I've never been. I'm looking forward to going to all the tequila places, drinking margaritas by the pool on a heavy daily basis. So I thought I need to have a good cleanse and blast before then. So I'm off the booze. I feel good for it. Like I said, I wake up feeling better in the morning. I go to sleep better at night. And it's other little benefits that I probably never noticed before. But for example, yesterday I've been out with some friends to a kind of a beach club and a nice lunch all day, and they were all drinking, and I didn't have anything to drink. And I got home about 9 o'clock last night, and I had some calls and stuff to make and some work to do. But I thought, what? I'm going to go and make these calls whilst on the exercise bike, whilst on the treadmill, get a few hundred extra calorie burn in and get a bit of exercise. And there's, the little things I couldn't have done if I'd have been boozing all day. Obviously, there's no chance I could have gone to the gym last night. And to be honest, I probably would have not even worked either. I'd probably gone and had a power nap. So, if any of you guys haven't tried any time off the drink, I would recommend it. Like I say, I'm not going to be here preaching like an AA spokesperson, or talking about this 1 year no beer and all that shit. But I just think, a few weeks here and there off the sauce will probably clear your head and help you benefit. And I think you'll probably find it easier than you think. Well, I certainly did anyway. Right, let's talk about some positive stuff. What can I tell you? So what have I been up to since we last recorded these? Because it's probably been about 2 or 3 weeks since I've recorded a weekly roundup. I left Dubai and I went back to England. I went to England to go and look after Harley for a few days because her mum was going away. And after a few days in England, catching up with the office, seeing some friends, I flew out on my annual ski trip. I say annual, I didn't do it last year because of COVID, but for the last 8 or 9 years, I have always hired a ski chalet, which normally for a week, although this time I did 10 days. And I take with me various investors, clients, friends, people I'd like to do business with, people I'd like to build a relationship with. And we just go and have a great time on the slopes. A lot of skiing, eating, drinking, bonding. We talk business. There's no formal agenda. There's no pressure. There's no hidden agenda. It's just a clear bonding trip that I always put together. And this year we did it a bit longer actually. We did 10 days, and for the 10 days, the first 4 days was one group of people. The The last 4 days was another group of people, and just me and the girlfriend had a couple of days on our own there in the middle. So I got to bring out something like 22 different people over the course of that trip. And just so you understand my mentality, I brought a whole raft of people on there. There's people that I do very, very, very regular business with. There was a couple of very close friends, and my daughter came as well, actually. So a bit of family time. But I mix everyone together. I never really separate certain groups of people. I think it's great to get to get everyone in the mix. My simple philosophy is that if you're a friend of mine, then you're probably going to end up being a friend of any other friends of mine, because if you like my personality or share my common interests, then that probably applies pretty much across the board on my social circle or my friendship group. So I put a whole raft of different people together. So this time there was people who I do a lot of close business with. There was people who I'm talking about doing business with, and there's people I've never done any business with whatsoever, but they're just friends, or the people who I'd started to meet a few times and wanted, and I just know that somewhere in the future, there's probably something for us to do together. But I just think they're interesting people. I enjoy their company. They'll add good value to my life just hanging out with them, and also they'll provide good value to the other people there. So that was the 10 or 12 people on each leg of the trip. And obviously, like I say, business gets talked about, but it's certainly not rammed down anyone's throat. There's no hidden agenda. There's no expectations or awkwardness. But things naturally come out during that time. You've got a lot of close, confined time with people, where I guess ideas and stories and stuff get shared. So unquestionably, potential deals, potential ideas come out. So when the trip finished, what I always then do is, again, in an absolutely no agenda way, if there was nothing to do with someone, then there'll be no forced contact. But for the people where there was, either definite deals to be done or the bones of deals to be done, and then obviously make sure I follow those up rapidly, because these trips aren't cheap to put on, and if there are ways to to kind of monetize them immediately, then I'm going to make sure I do it. And on this particular trip, I boxed off some problems with a business partner that we'd had lingering, that we needed to get sorted together. So we got those put to bed. I've agreed a deal to be partners on another business with a friend of mine, a business that's been struggling for me, and this guy can very much add some value to that. Built a relationship with a guy who will be able to bring me a good source of investors in the future. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what else was on there, and I met some other good people who have told me some good stories, and I made a couple of good contacts and introductions for me. So it was a trip well worth doing, and looking forward to doing it again next year. And here I am now back in Dubai, back in the warmth, which suits me a lot better than the cold. But as I always say, I guess the moral of the story, this, with the networking and the relationship building is, like I always say, I create an environment that I control that environment. So, so I book the ski trip, I pay for the ski trip, I decide who I'm inviting, because, if I'm in control of it, I can make sure that all the pieces fall into place in a way that I want. And I don't mean that in a way that anyone feels controlled or contrived when they're there, but I like the concept that if I pay, I can create it as I want it to be. So and then so I guess what you guys need to be thinking about is, what situations can you create where you can be in control of that situation, but you can also get people in an environment that they maybe not used to being in, so it makes people think differently, feel differently, build relationships differently. And also, you know, what can you offer that will actually get people to come and visit you. Now, I always talk about this with whether it's my ski trips, whether it's my trips on the boat, whether it's my, you know, Berry's tennis event, which is coming up soon. You know, I like to create environments that people probably can't create on their own, or if they could do it, they may not want to pay for it, or they may not want to go to the effort at that time, because normally the people I want to hang out with, the people who've got a lot of options, and if they really want to do something, they can just do it themselves. They can pay for it themselves. So I like to try and create something different, so I know that I can get them. I can get them to want to accept my invitation. So what can you create? How can you handpick your targets to get them there? Once you've got them there, it's obviously you want to spend some quality time, outside an office environment. Don't even worry about don't even worry about forcing any work on, because normally the conversations that need to come through. If you're just hanging out, doing fun things, hanging out with cool people, hanging out with the right people, the right conversations flow, the creative juices flow. People have ideas, and you will get the value in the end. And I know, like I say, a lot of the time, I don't expect all of you guys who watch or listen to this to be able to afford to do the things that I do, or create the situations that I create, but you're able to do it, in your own ways, on your own budgets. And I remember a video I recorded, must be 4 years ago now, where I'd just been boxing and ended up meeting a guy in the gym, and we'd go in the boxing ring together, and we just did 20 minutes, half an hour, messing around in there. But when we came out of that boxing ring, that bond, if you like, that relationship that we kind of probably both felt that we had with each other after just knowing each other for 20 or 30 minutes was almost like intense or immense, just because of the circumstances of being in an unusual situation, out of your comfort zone, in a different environment. I could have sat and had 10 breakfasts with him, or 20 meetings in an office, and never gotten anywhere close to that, as close to the relationship of what 20 or 30 minutes of boxing achieved. So boxing, hill climbing, paintballing, swimming. I mean, anything. Something that's intense and active, and all of those things I've mentioned are very, very cheap, certainly cost effective. You will be able to build great relationships with people. So we always talk about networking, don't we? There never seems to be a week that goes by that we don't have a networking story. What else? Oh, actually, talking about networking and Berry's tennis. I got an email this morning, because I've sent all my invitations out to people who I want to invite to the tennis. Probably invited 50 people, 60 people. Actually, I had a decline from someone this morning saying, thanks for the invite, but tennis is really not my thing, so it'll be wasted on me and I won't be coming. Now listen, I'm not telling anyone to like tennis, I'm not telling anyone to like anything in particular, but if that is genuinely how they feel about that invitation, about that event, they could not have missed the point anymore. I mean, ultimately, who goes to any business event, who goes to any networking event, to really see what the activities are? We don't go to the tennis to watch the tennis. We don't go to the races to go and see the horses. Probably a lot of people don't even go to the football to watch the football. You're going there to be put amongst people that you want to build a relationship with. And like I said, I'm not telling this story because I have any bitterness that this guy declined my invitation. I could pick up the phone and have a good chat with him any day of the week. But I just think it was a very, very narrow-minded attitude. And if I get invited to situations where I know that I'm going to be put amongst the right people who are going to be good for business, good for life, good for building relationships with, etc., I couldn't give a fuck what the event was. I hate football, I hate rugby, I hate watching all these kind of sports, but I'll go to anything if I'm going there with the right people. So never, just think carefully before turning down invites just because you don't like what's going on there. What else? Oh, this morning I went boxing this morning. I got a friend of mine who's staying in Dubai. He's not staying with me, but he's in town for a few days. A very fit guy. This guy's done a little bit of white collar boxing and stuff in the past. And we went, and I said, come and train with me, come down with my boxing guy. So we booked a 2-hour session. I went to go and do some boxing together. And let me tell you, all he did on the journey there was make it, and since yesterday, since we booked it, was kind of make excuses about, oh, I'm out of shape, or I've been doing a lot of running, but I'm not very good at this anymore, or I do a lot of this, but not a lot of that. And then when we got there, it was like, I want to punch, but I don't want to kick. Because he'd seen me doing some kicking. He's like, oh no, we don't do kicking, do I? I don't want to do kicking. I'm not very good at kicking. And I was obviously, I'm laughing at him saying, seriously, mate, stop fucking moaning. I mean, just throw a punch and do something. And I laugh about it because and as I said to him this morning, I was that person for so long with so many different activities, and you don't realise how much you just completely inhibit your progress by refusing to do something, thinking that you're shit at it, and therefore saying, well, I don't want to do that because I'm shit at it. So kicking at the kickboxing is a prime example for me. I mean, when I was 16 or 17, literally 20 odd years ago, I used to do a little bit of kickboxing, and I was always pretty shit at it. And I just took the view back then that I'm shit at kicking, I don't kick, don't want to kick, and I never did again. Carried on boxing and just normal boxing with my hands for the last 20 odd years, and I've got all right at it, but never kicked because I kept saying I'm shit at kicking. Well, of course I'm shit at kicking because I've avoided doing it for the last 20 odd years. And when I started with my trainer this year, with my new trainer, last year in October, the first thing I said to him was, by the way, I don't kick, let's just work on the hands. And this guy immediately said, no, we're doing some kicking. And look, I'm a flexible guy. I don't mean physically flexible, as in attitude flexible guy, and open-minded to stuff. So I thought, all right, fuck it, whatever. I'll get on and do some kicking with him. And yes, it was terrible when I first started because literally I was as bad as I was when I stopped 20 odd years ago. But we're 6 months down the line now, and whilst no one could ever mistake me for Jean-Claude Van Damme, where I used to probably barely be able to kick above the ankle, the ankle became the knee became the waist, and I can probably almost get up to shoulder height at a push now. Might not be the prettiest kick, but the marked improvement is off the charts. And we did this ourselves as kids. We hear it with our own kids. I mean, my daughter Harley, prime example. She stopped playing the piano 2 or 3 years ago because she said she was crap at it. Well, obviously you're crap because you're not practicing. And now 2 or 3 years down the line, where I've been trying to encourage her to play it and she just wasn't interested. 2 or 3 years down the line, whatever's changed in her head, she's now decided that she wants to play the piano again. And I say to her, tell me, do you regret not continuing with it for the last 2 or 3 years? To which, she's now happy enough to admit that she does regret that because she's effectively just missed out on 2 or 3 years of progress. And we all do this. We're all guilty of this. Not just my friend this morning, not just me, not just Harley. Whatever it is, we've all got so many things that we lack, that we're not very good at, and we lack some confidence in it, and then we just quit, and it skips our life for forever, and we obviously never achieve anything in it because we never put any effort into it. I saw this with some people on the ski trip actually the other week. I had some people come out there who'd never skied at all before, so they go out on the first day. I book them an instructor, get them some lessons and stuff. And after half an hour, a couple of these people are coming home saying, oh no, I'm shit at this, skiing's not for me. Well, of course you're shit at it because you're half an hour in, you're 1 hour in to a very, very tough, I say tough, I don't know, like a not easy activity. And until you've broken the back of it, you're never going to get any better. You're never going to start to enjoy these things. And so that's it really. I think we're shit at what we quit at. I think we really need to make that that differential in our heads of are we genuinely good or bad at something, or have we just not given it the required amount of effort to achieve what we need to achieve. What else is on here? Two other things to talk about here. Hiring the best professionals. So over the last 2 or 3 months, and I've talked about this in some previous videos, I've had quite a few legal battles on. I've been trying to achieve injunctions against people. We've been starting litigation. We've been defending litigation, and these have all been quite complicated, high-level cases that we've been involved in, and yeah, they just all seem to have come at one time. And if I can give you one big piece of advice when it comes to hiring professional people, and by professionals, like I said, I mean lawyers, accountants, barristers, advisors, whatever they are, do not be tight about it. Do not try and save money. Do not scrimp, because like in anything with life, you get what you pay for. And that is exactly the same with lawyers. It's exactly the same with accountants. It's, with the same with any consultants and any professionals. And when the stakes are high, you need the best. And it's very easy to look at these people and go, oh God, I don't want to pay that lawyer, that barrister £1,000 an hour because there's another guy down the road who can do it for 300 quid an hour. 99 times out of 100, there's a reason why one person costs £1,000 and one person costs £300. And normally that reason is because they are so much better. They're so much better. They're so much more experienced. They've been there. They've done it. They've got the knowledge and the ability to achieve what the cheaper person hasn't got. And you really very much need to look at what the stakes are at play, and can you you might think, oh, I can't afford to pay that, but what you need to ask yourself is, can you afford not to pay it and have a substandard result? Because what is that substandard result going to mean to you and your business and yourselves going forward? I think you can apply this to any kind of professional person that you're hiring. And I made this mistake. I'm normally pretty good at picking the best, at hiring the best, at being prepared to pay for the best. But for whatever reason, on a particular case a month or so ago, I took a barrister who wasn't the best, wasn't bad by any stretch, but certainly but wasn't the best on paper. And when we went into court, they did an absolutely frightening job. Am I saying that we could guarantee that somebody else would have won the case when this guy lost it for me? I can't guarantee that anyone else would have won it, but I just know that we would have had a much better shot than this, less experienced, let's say less motivated, not necessarily less motivated, but certainly less experienced, less skilled person that I hired. And I probably saved myself 2 or 3 grand on that day, but I probably cost myself 30 or 40 grand since then by not winning on the day. So don't scrimp, don't save. Everybody's got a cheap mate. A Mr. Smith here and there that can do something for cheap. And I'm not saying also that everyone who's cheap is shit. I know that isn't the case. But people normally are able to charge big prices because they can do a better job than people who can't charge big prices. So think very carefully, because when it comes to legal battles, when it comes to tax advice, when it comes to any of these fundamental things within your business, you need the best, because these people will normally pay for them. It might be an outlay for you in the beginning, but they'll normally pay for themselves multiple times over. And talking about expensive people actually leads me on to my next point, which is about for you guys who charge for a product, whether that product is your own time or whether that product is it's a physical product that you sell. I talk to a lot of people who ask for advice on how they can grow the business. And for me, the biggest stumbling block these people have is they don't charge enough for the product that they're selling at the moment anyway. Now, this is the same whether this person's a personal trainer, whether they're a masseuse, whether they're selling, whatever, whether they're selling sunglasses, glasses, baseball caps, whatever. Fundamental to being able to scale a successful business is the ability to charge prices that will give you nice fat margin. Because without fat margin, fat profit, you don't have the cash available to you to reinvest in your business, whether that's for marketing, for recruitment, for staff, for capital expenditure, or for taking money out of the business to provide you more money so that you can put less time in, whatever your goals are you want to achieve. And for me, if people are normally people are scared to charge a higher price because they think it will scare off their customers. And I would say that if you're not getting the price that you want to get, it's probably for one of two reasons. One is your product's not good enough. Now, I can't help you with that because I don't know where your products are, but you have to have a good product. You have to be great. You have to be one of the best. Like I said, whether that's personal trainers, hairdressers, masseuses, gardeners, English teachers, whatever it is, you've got to be great. Now, I can't tell you how to be great in your particular area, but I'm sure or there'll be people much better qualified than me to help you be great at your thing. So number one, are you great? Because if your product's not great, you're already on the back foot for being able to charge good prices. But secondly, if your product is great and you're not getting the price that you want or the price that you deserve, I would say that you're probably talking to the wrong audience. Because ultimately, there is always people out there to pay for a superior product. But you just have to find those people. You've got to be talking to those people. So look, if we use the example of a personal trainer, if you're a personal trainer and you're great, there will be people, you might be charging 40, 50, 60 pounds an hour. But I guarantee you that there's people out there who will be prepared to pay you £200 an hour, £250 an hour, because what people are interested in is working with someone that they want to work with and someone who can deliver the results that they want to deliver. Now, obviously, for people to want to pay more, they're probably going to have more money. So you need to be talking to this right audience of people who have got money. But if you can sell the result that this audience wants, then ultimately they will pay the price that you ask. I always use massage as an example on this. I'm a massive massage fan. I consider myself probably a world expert on who's a good masseuse and who's a bad masseuse. And I typically pay my massage guys probably about £80 an hour. Now, ultimately, for me, I accept this only works for me and people in my kind of financial bracket, but for me, whether I pay £80, £90, £120 an hour, I couldn't give a shit. I want that great person to do that great job that they're doing. So there are always people out there there's always people out there to pay your prices if you can deliver the right product. So for you to grow your business, I think, and again, this is perfect for personal trainers, for hairdressers, for whatever. Once you've got a busy diary, that the next step for you to be making more money is quite simply just to be putting your prices up. But don't be scared about putting your prices up and losing customers, because one of two things is going to happen. You're either not going, if you've got a full diary, if you're already working 8, 9, 10 hours a day, if you put your prices up, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to, or one of three things will happen. You're either going to have all of those people accept the price increase, in which case you're still working 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and you've got a lot more money because you've gone from £50 an hour to £60 an hour or whatever, and you've now got yourself another 80, 100 quid a day. Or some of those people aren't going to accept the price rise, and they're going to leave you, but other people will accept the price rise, in which case you're probably going to end up making the same money but working less hours. Now, if you lose all of those people, that's either because your product's not good enough, or more likely because your product probably is good enough because you've already got a full diary. More likely you're dealing with the wrong audience. You're dealing with people who can't afford to pay what you want. Now, quite simply, there are people who will pay £40 an hour for a personal trainer. There's people who can't afford to pay more than £20 an hour for a personal trainer, and there's people who are prepared to pay £200 an hour for a personal trainer. And you need to be obviously building your audience, building your awareness to that audience in the people who can afford to pay what you want to pay. But don't be afraid to charge more. You've got a skill set that you've acquired over, presumably over a lot of time, over years, over many years. You've got the ability to allow to help people get the results that they want to get. You just now need to work on finding the people who can afford to pay it, or who are prepared to pay it, because otherwise you're going to end up in this perpetual rut of working hard, and I've never had any time, and I've never been able to achieve more. I know people watch this are in all different walks of life. Like I say, some are consultants, some are professionals, some are are business owners selling a physical product. But this concept, ultimately applies to everything. What can you do to make your product better, to get it in front of an audience that's prepared to pay more, to allow you to have fat margins that you can then reinvest in your business or use to allow yourself to work less but still earn more. So that's my chat of the week, really. That's some of the things I've been up to over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Like I say, I apologise for not being here, for not recording. But like I say, I'm always honest about what's been going on. And like I say, my head just wasn't in it. But, I'm very pleased I've sorted my kind of personal issues out, because without them, obviously, my business is going to suffer and everything else is going to suffer. I know I'm not the only person who thinks like this, who feels like this. So always happy to share that my life is not always rosy, even though it looks tickety-boo on Instagram. Listen, that's it for me, guys. I'm Matt Haycox. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, like, comment, share. If you're listening to this on the audio version, you can see these things on the video version too. You can get me on social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, wherever you want me. I am the Matt Haycox. That's TheMattHaycox. Drop me a comment, drop me a DM. Always love to hear from you guys. Always happy to answer any specific questions. Always happy to give you guys some specific advice. But otherwise, I'll just be telling you what I've been up to during my weeks. But until next week, have a great time, and I will be still in Dubai next week recording from here, and I look forward to seeing you all then. Thank you very much.